Sasktel Center and Rush fans are ready to go for Game 1 of the NLL Finals as we get ready for the ceremonial ball drop here at Sasktel Center. Brendan Glasheen, Brian Shanahan will introduce the third member of our crew momentarily, but we're in for a great atmosphere. Tonight's national anthem sung by Trevor Wingirter with the color guard tonight. And as we mentioned, two of the more storied franchises in the NLL right now when you consider 5 of the last 6 belong to either Rochester or to Saskatchewan.
Yep, and this is Rochester's 10th time in the finals, a league record, hoping to win their 6th NLL championship.
Rochester went 10-8 in the regular season. Finished second in the East Division. Saskatchewan went 14-4, ran the table in the West for the first time in league's history. Gator the Gopher is coming out to midfield and on the floor by the S and Rush for the ceremonial ball drop. It's the Knighthawks' 10th franchise appearance in the finals. And it's Saskatchewan's 4th in a row. 5 total. Willie Jefferson of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Canadian Football League also out there. As the ceremonies carry on, Rush captain Chris Corbeil out for the ceremonies as well. And we should break this news to you as well. You see Scott Campbell out there at mid-floor because the captain of Rochester, Sid Smith, placed on injured reserve shortly before tonight's game.
Yeah, and that's a big loss, losing one of their leaders and one of their great defensive players with a lower body injury. But Adam Peroni will be getting his chance to play his second game this season in his rookie NLL season.
Sid Smith caused 12 turnovers this year in the regular season. In the postseason, 3 caused turnovers and 7 loose balls. The third member of our broadcast team tonight is Darren DuPont. You see Darren standing by. Darren, how are we doing down there?
Guys doing really well. What an atmosphere down here getting set to kick off the finals. Absolutely can't wait.
And we're waiting to hear from Chris Corbeil, captain of the Rush. So we'll move forward with play. Jeremy Thompson and Jake Withers for opening faceoff. Withers led the NLL as a rookie in faceoff percentage. We haven't touched on that too much tonight, but how much of an impact has he made?
That's another battle in this game, the faceoffs. The first time these guys met, Withers won 21 out of 30 faceoffs. The second times they met, they were pretty even. Thompson wins the first one.
He escapes from pressure back in his own zone. We are underway. Game 1 of the NLL Finals 2018. The Saskatchewan Rush and Rochester Knighthawks. The Rush on offense, one of the top offenses, if not the best offense over the last couple of years in the league. In the regular season, averaging over 14 per, as this one is plucked out by the Rochester D, a physical unit last time out against Georgia.
It sure was, and I'm sure they will be again today. And we haven't mentioned the goaltenders yet. Evan Kirk with the best record in the NLL this year with 14 wins, 4 losses, facing the veteran 5-time goaltender of the year, Matt Vince. And that's going to be a key. I think many people are feeling that's going to be a key in this series, is the veteran goaltender against the young Kirk, who was the goalie of the year in 2016, but only 5 playoff games to his credit.
The rookie Austin Shanks for Rochester denied by Kirk. He's off to a good start. Saskatchewan back on offense. There's the coach's son, Ryan Keenan, son of 9th year head coach Derek Keenan. Flips to Church. Now a touch for Curtis Knight. Circling in, it's Matthews off the mark. Regathered, new shot clock, a fresh 30 for the Rush. Put up 15 goals against Calgary in the West Final 2 weeks ago. As Keenan dumps to his left on Church. Shattler trying to set a screen. Curtis Knight fires on. Rebound by Shattler and gathered by Vince.
Yeah, a couple of big saves by Vince. We talked to Coach Hazen before the game today, and one of the things he says is he'd rather see Matthews take the outside shot, as dangerous as he is, than find that open man on the crease. Watch for Rochester to try to shut that down.
Coach Hazen also mentioned we have to be near perfect against the Saskatchewan team, a team making its 4th straight finals appearance. Nice move by Vitarelli on the skip, missiled on, save Kirk. Airs it out to Jeremy Thompson. He's got some room one-on-one. Thompson fires, and the first score of the NLL Finals belongs to the Rush.
One of the things about Jeremy Thompson, when he gets the fast break opportunities, even though it's not a breakaway, you know he loves to wind up and shoot. A lot of players will curl up and wait for the offense. He loves to do this. He'll do it a few times a game, and it worked that time.
First goal of this postseason for the 4th year from Syracuse, Jeremy Thompson. His 9th career postseason goal. 5 straight years for Jeremy Thompson with a face-off percentage north of 52%. Consistent during this Saskatchewan/Edmonton run. On the skip, a deflection and a turnover. It's a breakaway for Dilks. Bounce shot wide and a save Vince. Dilks scored 2 last week on defense against Calgary.
Yeah, not known for his goal scoring. He scored a couple of big goals. And that's what happens when the defense puts on pressure, causes high turnovers, and that's what happened with Dilks there.
Matthews in the half-floor set to McIntosh. He's deadly from outside. Breathing room for McIntosh. It got deflected at the top of the circle. Banged up along the wall. Flip out by Keenan. And it's stolen by Scott Campbell. He had a goal back in the East Final. Stops on the brakes and feeds.
There was no way Campbell was getting away from Jeff Shattler. Ran back with him. One of the former great transition players in the NLL. Now he plays the offense, but he can run back and play defense when needed.
Resiteritz to Shanks. Had it popped out. The rookie denied. The Rush can transition. Quickly on the floor, it's Knight to the doorstop. He was looking for Chris Corbeil, not prepared for the pass. Turnover Rush, and back to the Knighthawks. Rochester looking for a settled possession. Resiteritz, first U.S.-born player with a 100-point season. He's got the ball at the moment. Looking to pass, deflected. Jeff Cornwall with the cause turnover. Breakaway for Cornwall. Feeds. And Messenger wasn't ready for it.
That's 2 2-on-1s for Saskatchewan that they couldn't execute. That's not like them.
Transition now for Rochester. Denial on Fennell. Evan Kirk. His postseason resume not the same as Matt Vince, looking to prove his worth here in this game 1. Bounce shot from Kyle Jackson, and another stop by Kirk.
So far, the Rush has done a great job on defense, pressuring Rochester, causing turnovers in dangerous spots.
We're 5 minutes into the opening quarter. Thompson has the lone goal. Feet on the door, it was for Matthews. Billy D. Smith, who missed 4 regular season games due to injury, a great addition during the East Final with the key stop to start transition.
So Saskatchewan's looking almost a little nervous offensively. That's 3 balls that were not caught that could have been, and that time was Mark Matthews.
Cody Jamieson got it started in the East Final. His shovel to Fennell, blasted out. Hossack racing for it. Rubish will play it along the wall as the shot clock dwindles on the Rochester side. leads to a timeout on the floor. We are 5.5 minutes deep into game one of the NLL Finals. 1-0 Rush. You're watching on NLL TV and on Twitter. Darren DuPont standing by on the floor.
Yeah, guys, looks like they fixed the shot clock issue. They went to each bench to see if they were okay going without it. It appeared the Rush were. I don't think Rochester was, but they got it working now, and so a little bit of a conflict avoided.
Thank you, Darren. Play resumes. Just over 9 minutes left here in the first. Shot from Matthews. He's had a couple of looks early. Gobbled up by Vince. Lots of saves early for both goalies.
Not a lot of great opportunities for Rochester. Eric Fennell had one nice chance that Kirk did a good job on, but their outside shots haven't been getting through.
Rochester sets up off the pick, nearly bounces home for Vitarelli. Gets his own miss, diving across. Did not scoop it up and did not get a shot on.
That's difficult. He tried to scoop it up. You have to get control of it and put it in. You can't just bat it in the net.
Nice feed to the door. Church almost put it home. And a stop by Vince and the rest of the Rochester D. Brad Gillies over the timeline. Defensive Rochester holding the fort despite a couple of transition opportunities. Vitarelli just had the last look. Vitarelli flying in, missed it wide. Played off the bounce. Ressa Territz had it nabbed by the captain, Chris Corbeil. A lot of room here for Soroketti. Rolls out looking for Schattler.
Graham Hosick did a good job of getting back.
And an opportunity back the other way. Hosick scores. It's Graham Hosick of Rochester.
Well, Graham Hosick did a great job of getting back when it looked like Soroketti might be getting a fast break for Saskatchewan. And then after the turnover, he's the one who gets the breakaway, and he just takes a bounce shot. Playing against his brother Matt on Saskatchewan. We saw Matt scored a big goal last week. Graham, who I think will win the Defensive Player of the Year this year, gets a big goal for Rochester.
Ashley Docking will have a story at halftime on Graham Hosick. As Shenny mentioned, this is Hosick's third year. He's got 1 year on the younger bro, Matt. Both of Port Perry, Ontario.
Both very strong defensive players, but I think Graham really asserted himself this year as a monster defensively.
Listed at 6'2", 228. Matt, 6 feet, 190. Work to be done to build that frame to compete with the older brother. Violation at the draw, so Jake Withers awarded the win. Rochester just scoring to tie it. Jamison had it knocked out. The defense pretty good early, right in front of the crease. Cornwall speeds ahead for Saskatchewan. Cornwall stops. Feed underneath. Schattler trying to squeeze.
Yeah, still a little tentative. I think Cornwall should have taken that shot.
Transition for Rochester this time. Gillies no good. Saskatchewan showing its patience, but it might be a bit timid to start. Here on the home floor, 8 minutes now gone by in the opening quarter, tied at 1. Two of the better offensive teams in the regular season have just 2 goals combined early as Matthews dishes. Knight gets sandwiched.
That's some good defense.
Nicely done by Withers, who can do both the faceoffs and defense. He shoots and misses wide. Jake Withers as a rookie, a potential Rookie of the Year candidate with Zach Currier of Calgary.
Yeah, there's a few good rookies out there. Austin Shanks had a great rookie year for Rochester, so did Eric Fennell. The 3 Ohio State boys all played well on this team.
McIntosh has had a good postseason. 5 goals in the regular season against Rochester. And the shot on goal, Vince knocks it out. Gathered here by Ian Lord.
Vince did a great job of stepping out of that shot by Curtis Knight.
Off the pick, it's Jackson from the high point, nearly squirts underneath Kirk.
Oh, it squirted through, it just changed direction, it just went wide.
Darted right at the very last moment. We stay knotted at 1. It's game one of the NLL Finals. Game two is next Saturday at Blue Cross Arena in Rochester. Backdoor, that's their bread and butter. Nearly put in up top, but a crease violation by Matthews.
Nice athletic play. I'd like to see the replay of that.
A great find on the back cut by Matthew Dinsdale. He made the pass. Austin Shanks denied early, spins out, throws it away. Sask ball due to the offsides. Thompson, feed to Cornwall, got disrupted. He falls down. Whistles blowing.
Another 2-on-1 not executed. Now that ball goes back to Saskatchewan because Rochester actually put the ball back in their own crease. But it was a great defensive play getting the stick to intercept that 2-on-1 pass.
Dinsdale on the floor with Knight. Skip to Church now. Winds up and fires. Glove side save by Vince. New shot clock here for the Rush.
And Rochester's being just as physical as we saw them a couple of weeks ago.
This one spirals out. Church getting a second look. Robert Church in his 5th season. Former 5th overall pick of Saskatchewan.
This has been a long possession for Saskatchewan. This defense could be getting tired. This is when mistakes are made.
Knight angles in deep. Billy D. Smith using his strength to bulldoze the ball out. And back come the Knighthawks. 1-1, 4.5 or so to go in the first. First meeting between these two teams in the NLL Finals since 2012. Trying to sneak one through, Austin Shanks. Whistles a bounce shot, the rookie is on the board. Rochester has the lead.
Yeah, what a nice goal by Shanks, a beautiful bounce shot. This is his 7th goal in the playoffs. He's had quite the playoffs and quite a rookie season, but it's continuing here. And just fools Kirk with that bounce shot. Uses the defense as a bit of a screen. And Rochester taking the crowd out of this one.
Go back to March 24th when Rochester beat Saskatchewan. Austin Shanks had a 5-goal game. One of his best performances of his rookie season. He ended up with 27 regular season goals. There is an absolute scrum right now.
That's not stopping.
Nick Bielich involved. And it was Hosick on the Rochester side. Graham Hosick. 2-1 Knighthawks. They've scored the last 2. Church with breathing room. Behind the back bounce shot. Knocked out momentarily. Shatler gets it back. Matthews found him. Vince bailed out by the pipe on his left side. Saskatchewan went 6-3 at home in the regular season this year, 7-3 when you include the Calgary win 2 weeks ago, 15-13 in the West Final. Shanks going bounce shot, this time it's wide. Jackson offsides, and that leads to a stoppage on the floor. 3:09 to go in the first. Knighthawks have put this crowd in silence a bit. 2 on the score in game one of the NLL Finals. We'll be back.
That MVP with 8 points out of 9 goals, Cody Jamieson.
The offense for Saskatchewan has yet to get rolling. A unit that's put up on average 14 or more per game during the regular season.
And good point by Mike Hazen. How do you take this loud crowd out of it? You score a few goals, quiet them down.
Cody Jamieson off the pick. Whistle blows, going the other way. The Rush have also succeeded on the power play. No whistles just yet.
Yeah, although both of these teams are great in the power play, both coaches have said they prefer a game without a lot of penalties.
Knight with the skip to Jeff Shatler, one of the most experienced postseason players in this series. 13 seasons, a native of Toronto. Matthews backpedals for a spot, fires on Vince. He read it perfectly.
And so far, Rochester's done a great job of taking away the outlets for Matthews to pass to. He's always looking for Church and McIntosh on that side and Dinsdale. And so far, Rochester done a great job.
Jamieson with the bounce shot. Kirk staying poised. Another stop as he rejects Shanks on the putback. Now in transition, Messenger. Cornwall follows up. Goes bottom shelf to tie the score at 2.
Well,
sticked with the play.
Messenger missed the net by a mile, but Jeff Cornwall, who scored the winning goal against the Buffalo Bandits a couple of years ago, gets the big rebound. Let's say the Messenger was just passing it to Cornwall off the backboards. I'm being facetious.
Do you get bonus points for that?
You know what? Big assist to Kirk, though. He made a great save on the play that caused the turnover that went up the floor. So give credit to Evan Kirk. He's already got an assist in this game. And I don't know if he technically got an assist on this one, but he was a big part of the play.
Mark it down as a hockey assist. He made 2 key stops. The rebound by Shanks was denied. Messenger.
Well, that quickly went from potentially 3-1 to 2-2.
Magnan getting absolutely bodied. This crowd has risen. Rubish with the caused turnover. He had 25 of those to lead the team in the regular season. Wiggle room for Shetler.
And
Surigeti, part missing.
Rochester is going to get a penalty for too many men on the floor. I actually thought they didn't have enough on the floor.
That's why the rush sped up. Shatler now back on the floor. McIntosh with Matthews. Feed by Church. No goalie in for Saskatchewan. They have an extra shooter on the floor. And now with 1 second on the shot clock, the penalty will be issued and we'll get the call.
Yep, too many
and
men
Billy
on
D.
the
Smith
floor.
not pleased.
I don't know if there's going to be any argument there. I don't see one. I actually thought that Rochester only had 4 guys on the floor, and when the man realized he ran on the floor, but because nobody from Rochester had gone to the bench, to me it looked like that's why it was called.
Eric Fennell will serve the penalty. Saskatchewan on the power play, best in the league this year. High percentage look. Official rules it's a stop by Vince.
Well, I don't know if Shatler thought it was in or if that was wishful thinking.
40 seconds to go in the opening quarter. This power play will bleed into quarter number 2.
It may or it may not.
Good point. Georgia held to 1 for 1 on the power play in the East Final by Rochester. Their PK 8th in the NLL in the regular season.
And
bounces off the wall.
This power play, Saskatchewan, one of the best all time, just below 70% this season.
Without a question. 8 seconds to go in the first. Matthews has it back. Feed. McIntosh stopped. And a last second heave by Ryan Keenan. The first 15 minutes have come to a close inside Saskatown Center. Matt Vince, the 35-year-old, has been stout. He needs to be stout for another minute and 2 seconds. The power play continues for the Rush when we return. Second quarter action of Game 1 of the NLL Finals next. How good this Rochester defense was when they met in the regular season, holding Saskatchewan to 21 goals over 2 games, well below their season average.
Yeah, and let's not forget, in spite of the fact that Saskatchewan's 14-4 this year, Rochester was 10-8. Over the last half of the season, Rochester was the best team in the league, 7-2 in the final 9 games.
And Saskatchewan went 6-3 over the final 9.
And yes, they do miss their captain, Sid Smith, but there's still a lot of bruisers out there on the floor.
Jamieson picks up after the floating loose ball. A stop by Kirk, almost a shorty there for Rochester.
I'm surprised Jamieson took that shot, being short-handed. I thought he would have tried to kill 30 seconds because now we've got 30 seconds left in the power play. He could have killed most of it.
Down to 15 on the shot clock for the Rush. Right around 68% in the regular season. Feed to McIntosh, who hasn't been smooth on the receiving end of passes. Matthews trying to get going. He missiles one upstairs. Shot clock winds down. Possession to Rochester, 10 more seconds to kill. And the Rush will keep after that shot. Saskatchewan went 3 for 3 on the power play against Calgary in the West Final. Nothing doing this time. Rochester to full strength. As they have a man back in transition, they fling it up the floor to Fennell. He's ready, misfires.
Smart play by Eric Fennell. He came on the floor. He could see that Saskatchewan didn't want to take a shot, so he just stayed up the floor. There's always a fear late in a power play of taking a shot and a rebound comes up and a breakaway from the guy coming out of the penalty box. So he just hung up the floor. Got a pretty good scoring chance, not a great shot on it.
Feed in front to Curtis Knight. Missed wide. Ryan Keenan there for the rebound. Shovels it out with one hand. Getting muscled defensively. Billy D. Smith. Graham Hossick manning up on that closed D for Rochester. Feed in front to McIntosh. An off-balance fling to give the Rush a 3-2 lead here in the second.
And this is what Saskatchewan's been looking for all game. 5-on-5 offensively, they've really done nothing. And they're at their best when they catch the cutters. And this time it's Schattler. We're so used to Matthews making these passes. This time it's Jeff Schattler who makes the beautiful pass into McIntosh, cutting through the center. That's an area of the floor where you're getting pounded if you're going.
Fourth postseason goal for Ben McIntosh. He had 2 on the power play against Calgary in the West Final. For his career now, 30 goals on the power play. Pardon, on the postseason for Ben McIntosh, his 4th season. Pops up in the air, gathered on the doorstep by Dinsdale. Missile from Church, stop on the pad there by Vince. One of the things Derek Keenan told us today before the game, we let Rochester dictate tempo in those 2 regular season games. The crowd is trying to feel this thing out and gather all of the momentum. Stopped by Kirk, bounced out, and gathered by Vitarelli. Rochester can reset a new 30.
Yeah, he said he likes to force them to make quick decisions. He doesn't like to give Rochester offense time.
Vitarelli snaking through. Kirk escapes, leaves the box open. Loose in front of the crease.
And I think it's a crease violation, I think.
Bielich and Vitarelli
Plus,
shoving shoulders.
Are we getting a couple penalties on? Yeah, we're getting a couple penalties here. I think this is just a referee wanting to send a message quickly.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on Vitarelli and Bielich.
And originally that was a crease call. I think it was Jackson rolled through the crease and then tried to pick up the ball. If you're the guy in the crease, you cannot be the next guy to pick up the ball. And even though he's outside of the crease when he picks it up, that's still a crease violation.
Eric Schewel checks in defensively for Rochester, 21 in the purple. Keenan dangling up top. McIntosh makes his move, fires top shelf, it missed wide. And Keenan plays off the roll against the wall. Blasts in deep. Caused turnover momentarily, not the case as Knight fires on. Gathers his own miss, except it's wrestled in there by Vince. Transition for Schewel. He comes off.
Delayed penalty. This time Saskatchewan's going to get their first penalty.
And Vince comes off the floor to have the extra shooter. 6-on-5. Kyle Jackson with Ressa Terrence. Jamison to Ressa Terrence. Swarming in. He scores.
Oh, but there was a man in the crease. And I believe the referee is counting this goal. Now it's a delayed penalty, a 6-on-5. Ressa Terrence makes a nice play. And I'm not sure why the referee is saying this is not a crease violation. Let's have a look here. Oh, yeah. That's a good call. And that's what the referee, that was a wrestling move. And that is why there was no crease violation. And you saw the referee did the holding call. There could potentially be another penalty, and I think there is.
We'll hear momentarily from crew chief Chris Williams.
It was good.
So there was a delayed penalty. That's a second penalty by Hasek doing the wrestling move. So the goal knocks off one penalty, but Hasek's going to the box on the second one.
No goal for the Knighthawks.
No, that is a goal. That is a goal, yes.
And they just put it back up on the scoreboard.
I think the in-house officials were hoping it wasn't.
Hasek to serve the penalty for the next 2 minutes.
And the reason it's not a crease call is because the Saskatchewan player illegally put the player into the crease. It's one thing if you check a player legally into the crease, but you can't wrestle the guy down, and it was a pretty good wrestling move by Hasek.
Transition, nice dish out there by Midski. Matthews stuck in mud, looking to find room on the floor along the goal line. Campbell putting it on, and a delayed penalty against Campbell.
That almost looked like it went in.
Clean play. So Vince will stay in cage. 90 seconds left in this penalty, tied at 3. Game 1 of the NLL Finals. Game 2 is next Saturday. Game 3, if necessary, 2 weeks from tonight here at Sasktel Center. Resiteritz plays catch with Jamieson. Jammer! Yes! Rochester has the lead back.
What a shot by Cody Jamieson, the leader of this Rochester team. You know, and sometimes when best thing to do in a power play is just step in and shoot. They move the ball back and forth. Jamieson just steps in, gets a perfect shot to the top right corner.
Cody Jamieson's 4th postseason goal, 25th of his career. Knighthawks have the lead back. Saskatchewan went up 3-2. Last 2 scored by the Knighthawks.
Well, that whole penalty situation that led to the 6-on-5 and then a 5-on-4. A couple of goals from those penalties to Saskatchewan.
Couple of skip passes. Resiteritz comes up empty. Some nice action by Josh Currier on the corner, trying to force the ball back to Rochester. Jackson getting bodied.
I'm actually surprised Jackson picked up that ball.
Still a scrum in the corner.
And another penalty, another holding call.
Midski beside himself.
You know, I actually think the wiser move for Jackson would have been if he didn't pick up the ball, because those 8 seconds were going to expire. Instead, he picked up the ball in the crowd, and Saskatchewan ends up taking a penalty on the hold. Here, some good stick handling by Jackson, and that free hand right there. Midski a little bit too much.
Timeout on the floor. Rochester on the power play for the first time tonight when we return to Sasktel Center, Game 1 of the NLL Finals.
Well, pretty positive so far, Keenan, and you know, and he's one of these guys who's pretty composed no matter what's going on in the game. Both these goaltenders have seen a lot of action, and we know what Vince brings. He's done this his whole career, but I've also been impressed with what Kirk did. He's got an assist, made a big save that led to a goal. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised that we're getting good goaltending from both sides of the floor.
To Derek Keenan's point about good looks, Saskatchewan has 23 shots on goal to Rochester's 13. The rush.
That's shocking that it's that one side of the shots. Yeah, 23-13.
They'll have to be defensive-minded now. Second power play chance for Rochester. Jamieson scored the last goal on the power play. Here he is as he swings. Currier picks up the loose ball. Toss out to Resiteritz. Flings to Jamieson. Jump feed. Shanks almost put it home. Kirk diving out of the crease.
Yeah,
and a violation.
Vitarelli was trying to scoop that ball right out of the crease.
Now the Rush aim to kill, 90 seconds left of the penalty, and 9:08 to go in half number 1 of game 1 of the NLL Finals. It's a best-of-3 series, a rematch of 2012, Rush and Knighthawks. Great feed to McIntosh by Curtis Knight, gathers off the wall.
Yeah, great feed, great play by McIntosh. Cut to the net.
Knight goes upstairs, Vince gobbles it in by the belly. Now Hossack can clear for Rochester. Under a minute left on the power play. Rochester went 4 for 6 of the 2 regular season games against Saskatchewan this year combined. On the power play, Shanks to Jamieson.
Oh my. And yeah, Rubish is probably going to get a penalty. No, he's calling Jamieson, I think, for the dive.
It's going the other way.
He's not calling anything.
Just separated the 2, Jamieson and Kyle Rubish. Jamieson,
I think
livid.
that's a good call, actually. I believe Jamieson went down extra hard. Or a good non-call. But, you know, the illegal pick out there is the reason that the goal didn't count. It was a moving pick.
Saskatchewan doing a nice job on the kill this year in the regular season. 5th in the NLL, just under 53%. Under 8 to play in the first half. 15 more seconds to kill. They go for a shorty, and Robert Church converts. Even at 4 in the second quarter.
Great play by Robert Church. They were actually going to call a hold on this play. Watch Schul's arm. Yeah, that's a hold. He breaks free on it and gets the shot. Scores the short-handed goal.
Paul Dawson trying to help out Schul defensively. Schul's only played in 3 games, counting the regular season. He has played in 1 postseason game. Robert Church with his first tally tonight, his 4th of the postseason, 32nd postseason goal of his career. Hossack off the draw, on the wing, could not finish. Never got a good shot as Corbeil is sandwiched up against the board. Jeff Cornwall plows it out. Midway through the second, Rush can transition, a huge transition goal, even at 4.
Jamieson and Thompson going at it on the way to the bench.
Knight's been active in this first half. Campbell defending. Knight looking for cutters on the weak side. Shatler off the wall. Nice collection there by McIntosh. Shovels it up as the shot clock wound down to 0.
Well, you know, if Saskatchewan's going to have some success, win this game, they're going to have to get goals from Church and McIntosh, 2 of their most dangerous shooters, and they have contributed in this quarter.
3 2-goal runs from both sides. 2 from Rochester, 1 for Saskatchewan. 4-4 the score in the second. Shanks, bounce shot. Kirk works his way back to his right and reels it in. Gets it out quickly. Rubish over the line.
Rochester's one of the best teams in the NLL for shutting down transition fast breaks. We saw last week Matthews come off this bench for breakaways many times. Rochester has not allowed it so far this game.
Church had the shot knocked out by Billy D. Smith. Stick with the play. 2 straight goals for Robert Church. Another 2-goal run, the 4th in a row. This one is Saskatchewan, and the lead belongs to the Rush.
Well, they play a great 2-man game, and the Rochester defense sort of gets a miscommunication on the switch between Hossack and Billy D. Smith. Both guys stayed with the same man, and Hossack tried to react just a second too late. And when you get a guy of the caliber of Church, he'll make you pay if you're a step behind.
Finished 2nd in the NLL in points, 2nd in goals in the regular season, behind his teammate Mark Matthews, who led the NLL in scoring with 116. That duo, absolutely lethal. Another 2-goal run, Shanny. Not much further than that on either side.
Well,
Jackson spins out of trouble.
how many times we said it's a game of runs?
Two in a row for Church. Caused turnover. Jeff Cornwall extremely active defensively for the Rush. Cutting in Curtis Knight. Sets up the half-floor set. 5:40 left in the first half. 10 postseason appearances. Finals appearances, rather, for Rochester. 4th in a row for Saskatchewan. 5th overall for the Rush as a franchise. Bounced wide by Ryan Keenan, just missing a hair to the left. Vince staying strong despite this Sask run. Feed from Hosick. And Ressa Terrence denied by Kirk. I can't tell to this point which goalie's having a better game. It's been real close.
Yeah, they're both playing well.
22 saves for Vince, 12 saves for Kirk. Less shots on goal for Rochester. Shatler cut through, couldn't get the pass. Here's Church, 3 in a row, yes! It's the Robert Church show here in the first half, and the Rush have a 2-goal lead.
Well, we said Rochester almost has to play a perfect game. Almost any team has to play perfect to beat Saskatchewan. And a few mistakes defensively, and Saskatchewan makes you pay. Church is just at the right spot to pick up this bouncing ball and give him the room, and he's going to make you pay. One shorthanded goal, one even, and another one off this fortunate bounce that came to him.
Already a hat trick. The Drexel product, Robert Church, an all-rookie back in 2012. Huge part of this run. We talk Matthews, McIntosh, Curtis Knight, Jeff Shatler coming over from Calgary. Outside of him, this unit of forwards has been together now for a couple of years. McIntosh missing wide. Their cohesiveness is huge.
There's a penalty coming. Couple of bodies down.
McIntosh down on the floor in pain.
I think the key is this going to be 1 or 2 penalties. Both referees were calling holding. I don't know if they was both on the same player. Scotty Campbell's on the way to the penalty box.
We step aside at SaskTel Center. Rush on a 3-0 run, 6-4 lead on the Knighthawks in Game 1 of the NLL Finals. We'll be right back.
Now, Saskatchewan, despite having the best power play in the NLL this season, has not scored on the power play yet this game, although they did get a big shorthanded goal just when it looked like they were, the Rush were getting into penalty trouble.
A percentage of 67.8 in the regular season, 0 for 2 tonight. Went 8 for 12 in the 2 meetings in the regular season against Rochester. Shatler on the door, nice rotation by the D of the Knighthawks. Matthews at the high point, feed, McIntosh. Stopped by Magnan as he clears, and Hosick moves quickly.
Well, that shot beat Vince, but the post backed him up.
Jackson tiptoes to find his angle. 90 seconds still left of the penalty. A shorty nearly, but Kirk dove at the final moment to stop the shot with the bottom of his feet. Under 4 to go in the first half, minute 22 in the power play for Saskatchewan. 0 for so far in this game. Matthews plays catch with McIntosh. The NLL's leading scorer, Matthews, with the dump to Church. He's scored 3 in a row for his team. McIntosh plays it off the wall. Nicely done on the deflection, a new shot clock. Church angles back towards Matthews. Fake bluff shot, feed, McIntosh could not squeeze it.
Nice save, dangerous pass from Matthews to the crease. He's always looking for that.
Matt Vince has already faced 30 shots on goal in this first half. Shatler with the fake cradle on his left. Feed BTB to Keenan from Matthews, and Vince covers it up. Another stop, 30 seconds left in the Rush penalty.
And every time Matthews gets a ball up top, Rochester's turning that box defense into a diamond. They don't want to give him time. He's still getting some nice passes to the crease, but a couple of big saves by Matt Vince.
Five-time goaltender of the year, his postseason experience shining early, 18-8 record. Cody Jamieson, a stop Evan Kirk trying to make his mark in the 2018 postseason. Only a couple of more seconds here as the Rush see the Knighthawks fulfill full strength. 2 1/4 left in the first half, 6-4 Rush. They've scored 3 in a row, all by Robert Church. Shatler with the shovel. Collapses with Keenan. Shot clock dwindled. Campbell jumps on it. 2 minutes to go in the first half, that is.
Well, the next goal is going to set the tone. I think both teams really want to finish off with one more goal. Rochester wants to pull within one, and Saskatchewan would like to spread this a bit.
Tiptoeing the goal line, a whistle. A violation of the crease by Vitarelli. Rush have numbers. Want to push back into their zone. 90 seconds to go in the first half. Game 1 of the NLL Finals. Saskatchewan won the title 2 years ago. Heartbreak against Georgia last year. Game 2 was in this building. Played off the loose ball. Spin move, McIntosh. Lost the footing. Church going for 4 in a row. And a glove save by Vince.
Always dangerous, Robert Church.
We approach a minute to play in the first half. Adam Perrone seeing floor time on the defense of Rochester with Sid Smith out. If you missed it, placed on the injured reserve before tonight's game. Loose ball is plucked. It's Jeff Cornwall to the races. Looking for help, keep.
Great job by Saskatchewan just to double team Eric Fennell.
Race for it. Midski had it knocked out. Frank Brown in transition. Throws it ahead. It's Austin Shanks and a shoulder save by Kirk. 30 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, he doesn't have the games that Matt Vince has, but that is a huge save for Evan Kirk late in this half.
And a timeout, Saskatchewan.
That goal goes in. We're 6-5 now. Instead, watch this big save. So instead of a 6-5 score, Saskatchewan has the ball, a timeout. They're going to pull their goaltender, Kirk, and they're going to get a chance to extend this lead to a 3-goal lead. That's a couple of times that he's made big saves, giving his team a chance to do something in the other end.
It's 14th of the half. He maintained his composure despite that fake by the rookie Shanks. Evan Kirk grew up idolizing Matt Vince, his opposition tonight. Both teammates in last summer's 2017 Peterborough Lakers Canadian box title. Go back 8 years, a silver medal with the Canadian outdoor team. A lot of history between these two, but they separated on game day. Evan Kirk, as you mentioned, Shanny, trying to make his own mark. And big picture, Saskatchewan felt goalie was a position of need this past offseason. They went out and got Kirk from New England. And this is where, if they pull this off in these next couple of weeks, he's going to be a big part of it based on their offensive production as well.
And you know what? Like Derek Keenan does his homework. He's been a big fan of Evan Kirk. You mentioned winning the Mann Cup this past summer. So he's played in big games. Hasn't played in a lot of big games in the NLL playoffs yet. But this one's a big one, and next week's going to be a big one too.
The Rush can pretty much hold for the final shot. Shot clock down to 10. It's about a half-second differential. Matthews with the sweep. Opening at the high slot. Played on the rebound, one to shoot. First half has come to a close at SaskTel Center. It was all Robert Church on the offensive end for Saskatchewan and the closing minutes of quarter number 2, and it was Evan Kirk in cage. Church with a first half hat trick, including the regular season, his 12th hat trick of this year. And he'll be standing by with Darren DuPont here in just a moment. An entertaining first half for sure. Plenty of goal trading and runs. Let's go to Darren DuPont down on the floor with Robert Church.
Robert, you got the 3 goals. At what point did you guys start to find the game change offensively that allowed you to convert?
Yeah, I think we were playing our offense pretty well. We were getting really good looks, but we weren't capitalizing, and we were fortunate enough to get some bounces there and put the ball in the back of the net.
How much is this group thinking about last year and the way last year ended?
That's not on our mind at all. We're focused on this series and Rochester, and we just want to win game one and get through tonight.
Robert, appreciate this here. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right. We're here at the half. The Rush with the lead in the NLL Finals. All right, moments away from starting the second half. Cody Jamieson, the Knighthawks. So what needs to change from the opening half for you?
I think we just need to put a couple more balls in the net. I thought we did a great job. Came up with a couple big saves. We just need to score a couple more goals.
How do you describe the intensity we've seen already through one half?
Yeah, we knew what was going to happen. They're a great team. They got great fans. We're also a great team, and we're just looking to quiet this building down a little bit and keep our heads going.
Coach, appreciate your time, Cody. All right, up for the second half, Brandon and Brian, guys.
Cody Jamieson, a 3-time NLL champion, a 2-time MVP. Let's look at highlights from that first half. Plenty of scoring on both sides. Sask ending the first half, Shanny, on a 3-0 run. Let's go from the beginning.
Well, they started the scoring too. Jeremy Thompson scores one on a fast break, outside shot. Then the defensive player for Rochester, Graham Hossack, gets a breakaway off a turnover, ties it up 1-1. Shanks scores a goal and a nice bounce shot. They go up 2-1. But then off a wide shot from Messenger, Cornwall gets a rebound, puts that in. We're 2-2. That was the end of the first quarter. The second quarter, McIntosh opens it up, but on a 6-on-5 delayed penalty, Rochester scores on Rezatars. Power play goal by Jamieson. They had the lead, and then a big shorty by Robert Church, and he goes on a 3-goal run. Here's his second one on a 2-man game, and then he scores his third goal in 3 minutes and 3 seconds to give Saskatchewan the 6-4 lead.
You could clearly tell they made an emphasis to shut down Mark Matthews, the Rochester defense. 9 shots for Robert Church to Matthews' 6.
Yeah, and we talked about Mike Hazen saying that you almost have to play a perfect game. And you see there, a couple of mistakes are made, and Saskatchewan makes you pay. On that one Church goal, 2-man game defensively, they just messed up for a second, and he makes you pay.
Corbeil on the run, wants his teammates to push. Shatler a bounce shot. Missiled it wide, played off the hop. It's Luke Magnan. Magnan spinning out of traffic, looking to transition.
And that was no easy task getting out of that traffic. That's what Saskatchewan does so well. When a team makes a slow change, they'll send 3-4 guys on the ball carrier, and we've already seen turnovers that way.
See if the Knighthawks can listen to what Cody Jamieson had to say to turn this around. Another caused turnover. Jeff Cornwall with an excellent game thus far. Speeding over the floor, finds McIntosh.
Well, it's the caused turnover. Starts from the defense. They cause that ball to hit the ground. Cornwall comes up the floor. There you go. They see him take the ball. And Cornwall with this speed. These are the plays that they were not executing early in the game. The 2-on-1s. This time, Cornwall to McIntosh. And it's a 4-goal run now for Saskatchewan.
We harp on the talent of Saskatchewan's forwards, but as we told you, 5 players for Saskatchewan from their championship appearance back in 2012 as Curtis Knight can't finish. All 5 of those players from 6 years ago on the defensive end. Jeff Cornwall is one of them.
Yeah, and that was a time back then. The Edmonton Rush had some great defensive players. They didn't have the offense. They didn't have Mark Matthews, McIntosh, Church. Almost every guy in the offense right now was not on that team back then. Ryan Keenan, Shatler. So they've added a lot of offense to a good defensive team, but these defensive guys are still huge contributors.
6-on-5, extra shooter is on as Robert Church escapes out of the floor. No one finds him but Vince with a stop with his left foot. Rochester all out of sorts offensively. A failed clear by Vince, and the Rush offense can stay on the floor.
Yeah, no delayed penalty, but Kirk came to the bench for the extra man. And I don't know if that's just a little bit of trickery by Derek Keenan.
Hard pick from Matthews. Keenan can't finish.
That almost looked like Vince was considering trying to throw the ball into the empty net, and it was almost a half-hearted effort. It looks like he changed his mind halfway through the play.
Yeah, and it came out. Not used to that from the veteran. Vince with 28 first half saves. The shot on goal differential eye-popping, 32-20. Advantage Rush. Cornwall over the line, scores!
Well, Cornwall's having a great game as he continues this 5-goal run for Saskatchewan. And again, turnovers from the defense. It was an illegal pick by Rochester. Saskatchewan gets that ball up the floor quickly this time. He sees no one to pass it to, and an excellent shot by Cornwall. And what a start to the second half for Cornwall and his teammates.
His first 2 goals of this postseason in Game 1 of the NLL Finals. Jeff Cornwall in his 8th season. He's been with the Rush since 2012. Acquired via trade with Buffalo back in his rookie year. And he went to Edmonton. Of course, still with the team in the transition period. Keenan, the jump shot. Blows it by Vince. And the SaskTel Center is erupting. A 6-goal run for the Rush.
Well, this is the opposite of getting the crowd out of the game. This crowd wants a reason to celebrate. They didn't like the way the season ended last year. And this time, Ryan Keenan just one-on-one and beats his man, Brad Gillies. And everything is starting to go right for the Saskatchewan Rush.
Cody Jamieson, the last Rochester player in the Rush zone as they get the rest of the offense fluttering onto the floor.
And you know, as good as the offense is on this Saskatchewan team, a lot of these goals today have been caused by the defense doing a great job, causing high turnovers and the transition.
Shanks flips to Cody Jamieson. Fennell plays off the bounce. Little wiggle room for Resetaritz. And the Rush want to keep on moving. It's Rubish to Messenger. Misses wide.
Messenger's played a great game, but his shooting has not been on. But what a great job by Saskatchewan. That was a good scoring chance by Resetaritz. And they got out there, their sticks up high, didn't even let him get a shot on net. And not only did they not allow the shot, they turned it into a scoring chance for themselves.
Jackson looking to dive, violates the crease. Jeff Cornwall has been in the thick of every loose ball or caused turnover for Saskatchewan. This time it's off a violation. Matthews steps into one. 7 in a row for the Rush. An explosion. Matthews with his first tonight.
And just a misplay defensively. Watch the room. They give Matthews here. The defense just steps off, and Matthews said, well, you're going to give me this much room. That's a lack of respect. And he steps in, gets an excellent shot. Hard to believe that Matthews would not be the guy covered on the floor. And they're making a goaltending change. And the fans are giving it to Matt Vince a little bit. And I think this is a good call by Coach Mike Hazen.
During the regular season, Angus Goodleaf played in as a backup to Vince in both Saskatchewan games. Finished with a 1-2 regular season record with an 11.4 goals against.
And you know, I'm not blaming Vince one bit for what's gone on here. But I think, you know what, your starting goaltender, he's the guy you're going to need. If things aren't going your way, maybe give him a break here. Oh, They're putting him back in.
Quick breather.
Hazen had a word with him and is putting Vince back in.
Just a brief stint for Goodleaf. Played off the bounce by Fennell. Plenty of defenders. Suriketi plucks it away for the Rush. Much is said about Saskatchewan's offense. The defense has been blistering at the top of the point. Keenan flips. It's a 7-goal run right now, a 6-goal lead for the Rush in game 1. Keenan cuts in on the goal line, bailed out by Curtis Knight. A hard screen by Church, and a belly save by Vince. Back on track, perhaps.
Well, I suspect Mike Hazen had a word with him, found out what his frame of mind was, and he's a battler, so he wanted to go back in.
Shanks whistles one. You can hear it from upstairs. Kirk with the stop. Not a high percentage look from the rookie. Shanks does have a goal tonight. Rush have controlled the first 5 minutes of the second half. Matthews twirling in. Hound found Keenan. Kicked out by Matthews, and Church can slow down with 5 to shoot. Keenan down on the floor. Billy D. Smith is also part of that's Paul Dawson, who is also banged up for Rochester.
Well, you're wondering why Church is not shooting. He was in a glorious position to take a shot and get his 4th goal, but it wouldn't have counted because Keenan was lying down in the crease. So that's why Church pulled it out. And hopefully Ryan Keenan's all right. He's walking off.
We step aside at SaskTel Center. A 7-0 run dating back to the second quarter for the Rush. Up 6 in game 1 of the NLL Finals. Play resumes. Just a couple of seconds to shoot for the Rush. So an ill-advised look. Rochester back left to right. Here at SaskTel Center, it's game 1 of the NLL Finals. Rochester won 3 in a row from 2012 to 2014. Saskatchewan going for its 3rd final championship in the last 4 years. Game 2 is in Rochester at Blue Cross Arena a week from tonight. Resetaritz not prepared for a poor pass. Rochester all out of sorts in this 3rd quarter offensively.
Yeah, and this is what Coach Keenan said. Take away the time, force these guys to make mistakes, and they've done that in a great way.
Dinsdale backpedals out of trouble. Mike Hazen of Rochester said we have to play near perfect. That has not been the case in half number 2 so far. Vince gathers another save after being pulled briefly. It was very brief. We're talking seconds for Angus Goodleaf out on the floor. Fennell flutters in. Josh Currier has a pick. Goal line extended. The shovel to Shanks. Wiggles in. Shanks. Bounce shot. Save Kirk. Leaps out. Wow. Cornwall reaching over the shoulder. What a game he's had.
He's played great, but really, you can't say Rochester's had a good chance in this second half. They have not been threatening at all.
Cornwall's got 2 goals in this game, several loose balls and caused turnovers. He had just 1 loose ball in the Calgary game in the West Final 2 weeks ago. Feed to Shatler. Vince with a confidence-boosting save. Campbell over the timeline for the Knighthawks. Down by 6. Knighthawks have yet to score in the second half. Last score was 4:40 into the second by Cody Jamieson. Here's Kyle Jackson, a rip. Missed it wide. Kirk didn't even have to bluff.
They're almost looking desperate here. Jackson takes that shot from the wrong side from way out. Misses the net.
Got to give a lot of credit to Saskatchewan's defense, right?
You got to give all the credit to their defense.
Okay.
They're forcing Rochester all over the offensive end of the floor.
Still plenty of time, midway through the 3rd, still another quarter to go. McIntosh off the pick, flip to Matthews. Now it's Dinsdale on the door. He had to open Jeff Shatler. Robert Church trying to bury his way in to pick up a loose ball.
Well, those are a couple of big saves by Vince. he's given his team a chance to get the offense going, to crawl their way back into this.
Church messing with Paul Dawson, a big build of 6'5", 230 in his 12th season.
Again, they throw away the ball.
Bielich knocks into Resetaritz. Jeff Cornwall in the thick of it once again. 6:40 to play in the third. Stays with Rochester, a new 30-second shot clock. Jackson ramming through. Jackson fires. Kirk moving to his right. The wave has started at SaskTel Center. Vince comes off the floor. Rochester trying to get something going. It's Jamison, the extra man at the top. Jackson flutters in. Save Kirk.
There's a delayed penalty on the play.
New shot clock for Rochester. Shanks has a goal in this game. Jamison's got one goal. They play catch at the point. Feet on the door. Resetaritz the stop. Rebound. Kirk lost sight of the ball, and now the penalty will be issued.
It looks like it's Messenger going. I believe it's going to be for an illegal cross check. Let's listen to what the referee has to say.
Crew chief Chris Williams.
2-minute liner, illegal cross check.
Illegal cross check. Shanny nailed it. 2 minutes for Messenger. Rochester 1 for 2 in the power play so far tonight.
1 for 2, but they gave up a shorthanded goal
to Robert Church.
Yes.
And that started his 3-goal run.
And it started his 3-goal run, started his team's, what is it, 7-goal run now?
7-0. Rochester hasn't scored since the 11-minute period of quarter number 2.
That's not even the penalty, that play. The play was called a little bit earlier. I'm not sure why.
Josh Currier stops the bleeding, cuts the deficit in half. The 7-0 run is over for Saskatchewan, and Josh Currier tallies his second postseason goal of 2018.
Well, it almost seems like Vince stopped the bleeding when he took the 10-second break. He's made a couple big saves since, but this is the first really good shot that Rochester's got this half, and they needed the power play to get it. But we said this is a game of runs. Huge run for Saskatchewan. Rochester needs a run.
10-5. 5.5 or so left in the third. Josh Currier from Peterborough made the all-rookie team last year. 6th overall pick out of Virginia Wesleyan back in 2016. Key win for Withers at the face-off. Withers tonight 9 of 16 and a big score. Rochester puts one on. It is
Eric Fennell.
Fennell in tight.
And a nice play on the 2-man game. As Kyle Jackson feeds him inside, big Eric Fennell finishes it. Pick and go. Fennell throws the pick on Cornwall, goes straight to the net after Cornwall's knocked off balance. He gets that couple extra seconds. You see the Saskatchewan rush converge on him, but he's already put it in the net.
Nifty technique as well by Jackson on the feed.
Yeah, nice pass. And Fennell's
Michigan Wolverine to Ohio State Buckeye.
And Fennell's a big body there. You know he's going to get hit, but you still got to catch that ball inside and take your hit when you get it.
Resetaritz got that possession started. Now it's a 4-goal game. Another win for Withers. His 10th at the dot. Jamison, kick out, shot and a save. Vitarelli denied by Kirk.
That was a good save by Kirk. From up here, it looked like Vitarelli had that corner pegged.
4 to shoot here. Jamison doesn't get it back. Shanks, no. Shot clock down. Kirk makes the stop regardless, and Corbeil can move up the floor for the rush.
Slow change for Rochester.
They got to get ready. McIntosh, save Vince. Might have used the forearm to bring that one in. Leads to a stoppage on the floor. McIntosh down again. We step aside from SaskTel Center. Knighthawks with a pair of goals to stop this 7-0 run by the Rush. 10-6, third quarter, NLL Finals, Game 1. We'll be back.
Don't get in the way of Billy D. Smith.
He's a big boy down there, Billy D. 6'3", 245.
All-time penalty minutes leader, and you know what? He's cleaned up his act compared to what he used to be like.
He's certainly a wrinkle because he didn't play in either Saskatchewan matchup game in the regular season.
Yeah, he's had a long career and he's been nursing injuries all season.
Missed 4 games.
It's his 9th season, won a championship for the Buffalo Bandits.
Here's Rochester on offense after the clear. Vitarelli squirming in, blasted out. Cornwall pushing for Saskatchewan. Dilks on his left. Cornwall's got it back. Campbell trying to deny one-on-one. We approach 4 to go in the third. 10-6 rush. It's game 1 of the NLL Finals. Best of 3 series. The Rush won it 2 years ago. Last time they played in a finals game, beaten by Georgia on their home floor. Church to Dinsdale. He connects. Blasting it by Vince.
Well, you're being kind when you say he blasted it. I don't think Dinsdale got a good shot away on this. I think Vince just misplayed this.
Might have hit him, Shanny, to deflect the ball and slow it down a bit.
Well, let's have a look. Dinsdale comes around the corner. And not a lot of velocity on this shot. Now, Vince may have been screened. But, you know, you shoot on net and there's a chance.
7-year player Matthew Dinsdale, a former Calgary Roughneck, acquired prior to the 2015-16 season. First year the franchise moved to Saskatchewan. 3.5 to go, 5-goal game. Rush the lead.
Dinsdale scored the winning goal for the Edmonton Rush when they beat the Toronto Rock 2015. I think we're getting a penalty here. Too many men on the floor.
Rochester bench minor, 2 minutes legal substitution.
And
Against Rochester for the second time tonight, Fennell serves this penalty.
And for everything that's went well,
The power play hasn't.
yes, the power play, that's the much vaunted power play, has not scored a goal.
0 for 2 on the evening.
But you know, it's just a matter of time. You're going to give these guys a chance.
Up over 68% in the regular season. 3 for 3 against Calgary in the West Final. Keenan denied by the crossbar. Nice move by Paul Dawson. The Oakville, Ontario native speeds ahead. Rochester looking to kill some time. 3 to go in the third, minute 34 in the power play. Knighthawks are back in the finals for the first time since their championship year in 2014 when they knocked off Calgary. Currier spinning for room, double team. Dilks and Cornwall soaking him defensively. And he runs out of time. Rush can transition right to left.
Continue to play relentless defense, this Saskatchewan Rush team.
They had the best goals against average in the regular season at 10.89. Allowed the least amount of shots per game in the league as well in the regular season. Plenty of breathing room for Matthews. And McIntosh with the quick snipe. Stopped by the pipe. 45 seconds left of the penalty as we approach 2 to play in the third. McIntosh trying to gather. Flips out to Matthews. He's the quarterback of this power play. Great fake. Vince, a key stop. 30 seconds in the power play for Saskatchewan. Can Rochester muster another stop defensively? Matthews, as Church watched on from the left. This one blasted off the wall.
Well, that'll give Rochester the stop they need with just 14 seconds to go.
Clock has stopped. Now it resumes as Jamieson scoops it up. Cody Jamieson, the unquestioned leader of these forwards with just 1 goal in game 1.
He's just waiting for his teammate to come out of the penalty box before he works the offense again.
So Saskatchewan is now 0 for 3 on the power play. Shanks, the flip, Jamieson in front, save Kirk. Vitarelli got denied. Loose ball scooped out, bounced out by Kirk. Here come the Rush. minutes ago in the third. This defense, Shanny, stout, confident, poised, fill in the blank with any type of confidence word.
It's good to see Ryan Keenan's back on the floor after taking that big hit from Ian Lord.
McIntosh, the fake pass to Dinsdale, nearly regathered by Schattler. Vince has really bounced back since that brief sit-down.
That's a tricky shot there by Schattler. Yeah, since that sit-down, he's only allowed 1 goal. I didn't think it was a good one, but he definitely stopped the bleeding.
Shot clock and game clock, about a 10-second differential. Courier dipping the shoulder, swim move in. Knocked out by Bielich and Messenger. Rush can hold for the final shot. Cornwall looking for his third, blasted it wide. 9 seconds for the Knighthawks. Scott Campbell, the defenseman.
He's got nobody with him.
To Jamieson. Fake. Campbell with the final seconds. Evan Kirk continues his dominant night. 25 saves for the 7-year vet from Orangeville. We step aside from SaskTel Center. We make the turn for home. We go to the fourth. Rush 11, Knighthawks 6. This is game 1 of the NLL Finals. The shot on goal differential has risen. It's now 47 Saskatchewan, 30 for Rochester. It was just a 12 plus, or plus 12 in favor of the Rush at the end of the first half.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about scoring, going on scoring runs. Those 3 goals by Church in the first half were 3 goals within 3 minutes. Well, starting this second half, Saskatchewan scored 4 goals in 3 minutes and 39 seconds. So not only are they scoring in bunches, they're scoring them in quick bunches.
Number one thing that has to go right here for Rochester to get back in this game.
They got to get some offense going and avoid the high turnover. Avoid the turnovers on the offense. And this is the problem. If you're going to turn over the ball, you don't want it to lead to a transition. But, you know, you got to give credit to Saskatchewan. They've got a scary defense. If you make a slow change offensively, they're all over you. They're not waiting. You know, some teams set up the defense and wait for the offense to come. Not them. They go out and chase you. And that's one of the things Keenan said to us. He thought they gave Rochester too much time on offense last game.
Courier flips underneath Teresa Territz, who has 1 goal and 3 assists today. Jamieson loses his stick. Rescue by Fennell.
And you know, even though the shots are 42-27, I think Kirk has played a fantastic game. He's made a lot of big saves.
Oh, it's up even more, Shanny. 49-32.
I better refresh my screen here.
5-goal lead for the Rush. McIntosh plucked out. Schattler collapsed. Couldn't land on it as the defense of Rochester comes up with a crucial stop. Just 4 scorers in this game. Pardon, 5. Courier has the pick from Shanks. Skip coming in. No room for Kyle Jackson.
Kyle Jackson's tried that play a few times, and they're squeezing him out. They're not giving it to him. They're putting him down on the crease.
Curtis Knight with a hard pick. Gets rewarded, but missed it wide.
Oh, nice pick and roll by Knight. Just wasn't able to put it in.
Hard screen by Knight, who has not scored a goal, but he does have an assist. He's been very active in this 5-goal lead at the moment. Soroketti gets checked. That affected his pass. Dilks goes down. We're staying over here. No penalty.
No penalty. That hit was a little late. I believe it was Brad Gillies, and it just gave the possession call to Saskatchewan.
2 minutes into the fourth. Ryan Keenan took a hard hit earlier. Missiles one over the shoulder of Vince. Yeah. Ryan Keenan's second postseason goal.
And that's another one I think Vince would like to have back. Almost looks like he was guessing and guessed the wrong way. Good to see Ryan Keenan, who did take that hard hit, is back and contributing. He just steps up, and look at Vince just leaned the wrong way.
That is Keenan's second tonight, third overall of the playoffs. We talked to his father, Derek, earlier today at the hotel. And what was the line? What was the message he sent to you? And how do you approach coaching your son?
I said, when are you his coach and when are you his father? He said, I'm always his coach when we're here.
Never steps away from being in that role. He enjoys it.
Well,
he's just another one of the guys.
I think he's coached them since he was about 12 years old, so they're kind of used to those roles.
Jamison wants to pick and roll with Fennell, and he scores. Eric Fennell with his second. Rochester within 5 once again.
Well, Saskatchewan has opened the scoring in every quarter, but this time another pick and roll between Fennell and a teammate, this time Jamison. And he does it so well. You throw that pick, you force the switch, and then the defender who's covering you is a step behind if you give it a little push on the pick.
The pass in perfect stride.
Job.
The pass in perfect stride for Fennell to put that one home. The rookie out of Ohio State, 6th overall pick in the 2017 draft.
And I've mentioned this before, but Eric Fennell was a goaltender till about 5-6 years ago.
From St. Catharines, Ontario. Corbeil gets the skip. He makes the extra pass. Vince the stop. Crease was violated by the Saskatchewan player.
And Paul Dawson, who has the ball here too, he was drafted to the NLL as a goaltender, has become one of the elite defensive players.
Can Jackson get going? This ball spirals into the seats. Look out. Might have knocked off of Kirk, then off the pipe, and then into the seats. Possession stays with Rochester, more than 3 minutes deep into the final stanza of regulation. Currier the feed, and a quick shot by Vitarelli.
Rochester has never scored more than 2 goals in a row. And if they want to get in this game, they've got to get a bit of a run going.
Saskatchewan used a 7-0 run earlier. Kirk.
That went in.
Yeah, it went. Vitarelli beats him.
I think Vitarelli surprised himself there, surprised me. And I think it surprised Kirk. He's off balance.
Take a look.
Yeah, watch this. Again, Jamison, the quarterback. Messenger all over him. I think Vitarelli looks at his reaction. I think he thought the shot went wide. Oh, yeah, see Kirk just bent down a little bit there, came off the pipe. And Vitarelli found the opening. So 2 goals in a row for Rochester. Are they able to go on their first 3-goal run?
And they did this earlier in the third to cut it to 4 like now. It was 10-6.
And this is where you like having Withers winning the faceoffs.
Jake Withers tonight, 15 of 22. Jamison's pass knocked out by Corbeil. Gillies with a key track down for the loose ball, and Rochester stays alive on this possession. Gillies the transition man with a key play. Resiteritz has it knocked loose once more. Corbeil's got a 2-on-1. Matthews sneaks in from behind. Matthews on the extra pass. Might have been getting a little cutesy there. No look on the shot. Matthews, though, regathers.
Oh, I think it was the right play. I just think that pass was just off a little bit behind Matthews.
12-8. Rochester has scored consecutive goals. At the high slot, Robert Church, number 4. He's come up big all night.
Hey, when you see Robert Church coming around there, you can smell a goal. Just watch him come around up top. You know, he uses the picks, just curls around, and not on a great angle at that time, but he just finds a way to place it. And really, Billy D. Smith just could not keep up with Church.
He had 4 4-goal games in the regular season. He's got one tonight. 7 goals now in this postseason for Robert Church, including the West Final against Calgary. And there you go, Shanny, the 2-goal run halted for Rochester. Jackson's had a tough day getting his offense going. Bounce shot whisked off the ball and off the wall into his grasp again as we're 5 minutes into the fourth. Resiteritz to Shanks. Shanks leans in. Stepped over the line. No goal. That leads to a timeout on the floor. Just under 10 minutes to go in regulation. Rush by 5. And we have a challenge. We're going to keep it here momentarily. A challenge by Mike Hazen in Rochester.
And I know, looking at the big screen in the arena, they didn't show the replay of that yet, so it's a calculated risk by Mike Hazen. He didn't have the benefit of watching it. Let's see who's in the crease. I don't know if it was the shooter that they're calling Shanks for being in the crease, or if it was, on first look there, it looks like he took off touching. You can't really tell there. Referee's in a pretty good spot. Let's see if his toes, he's in the crease, there's no question. I think that's definitive. And that's referee Matt Garrison made the call, and there's Chris Williams checking it out. And I think from that view we just saw, I think it's probably very definitive. And it doesn't even have to be definitive. His first original call was no goal. You've got to find definitive proof that that was wrong, and I don't think you're going to find it based on what we just saw. In fact, I'm convinced that was the right call. Watch this angle. Watch his toe. Yeah. He took off on that right foot, and that was definitely on the line. Good call by Matt Garrison. I think it was Matt Garrison made the original call. Chris Williams is just going to confirm it here.
Williams, the crew chief, Garrison, assistant, as well as Matt Robinson for game 1 of the NLL finals.
And I think these referees have done a great job in these last few weeks. We've, seen these guys a lot, and they've been using some of the same crews a few times. And, and I think when you could have both sets of coaches just as annoyed at you, then you're doing a good job. And I'm joking around there. I think, for the most part, the coaches have been pretty happy with the referees.
Good news for Director of Officiating Brian Lemon, who is in the stands tonight. At the moment, a 5-goal game in the fourth. Game 2 is a week from tonight at Blue Cross Arena in Rochester. Let's hear from crew chief Chris Williams.
Shooter is in the crease prior to the ball crossing the goal line. We got no goal.
Rush fans applaud Mike Hazen's bid to reverse the call. No good.
And Hazen didn't have the benefit of seeing that. That is a calculated risk he made there. Now he loses a timeout, but if the replay was up on the big screen quickly, he might have had a chance to have a look and decide whether it was worth it or not.
Brendan Glass-Sheen, Brian Shanahan up in the booth. The third member of our crew, Darren DuPont, on the floor here at SaskTel Center.
Hey guys, Stan Dawson not in the lineup for the Rush, but he's got his fingerprints all over this game. He started with Rochester, and they had a struggle to the start of their season. Unfortunately for him, he missed a game due to work commitments. They were on a 6-game losing streak at the time. They won that game, didn't want to change the lineup, and you guys talked about what a great run they went on to end the season. He couldn't find a spot back in, was dealt to a great contender here in Saskatchewan, has had a good impact. Even though he's not in the lineup here, they tell me his leadership is invaluable. He's on the floor every day with the guys and a big part of this team, even though he's not able to be on the floor with them here tonight.
Thank you, Darren. 17 years in the league for Dan Dawson, the 2009 MVP, traded from Rochester on February 25th for a couple of draft picks to Saskatchewan. Does bring some pedigree, as we spoke about with Cody Jamieson or a Mark Matthews. Definitely a weapon to have on the sideline.
He was also the MVP in the 2014 championship. for Rochester. And anyone that knows him knows he's such an unselfish player. I'm not surprised that he is staying so positive even though he's not in the lineup.
Graham Hosick on the move, finds Shanks, and a stick side save by Kirk. Rochester with a new 30. Transition players doing a nice job in the neutral area. Jamison, the MVP of the 2012 and 2013 finals, is Kyle Jackson. Looking to get going, his first of the night. Jamison the find, and it's down to 4 once again.
Yep, Jackson has had a frustrating night, but he gets a great shot there. Again, Jamison, we're going to have to add up his assist in a second. He feeds it to Jackson, who just takes the outside shot. Puts a little bit of a change on that shot just before he finishes his follow through, changes direction, a little bit of a twister. And that's 5 assists for Cody Jamison.
Has a goal tonight as well, the orchestrator of that offense. Jeff Cornwall, the orchestrator of the Saskatchewan defense. Vince gets out of the cage and absolutely rams him on the shoulder. Now he's looking to clear it. Gutsy move by the veteran, Matt Vince. Dawson looking to clear.
Oh, good job by Saskatchewan. That was Nick Bielich, who just wouldn't let Dawson get over that center line.
Returned to the team in February after injury for much of the first half of the season. 4-goal game, Saskatchewan ball. Keenan, rocket with the left, missed it wide, played off the wall nicely by McIntosh as we have 8.5 to go in the fourth. Off the feed, Curtis Knight. Clean hit from behind, Vince clears.
And it's good to see Matt Vince helping out his defense by making that big hit behind the net and then scooping up the loose ball. One of the more athletic goaltenders, one of the more fit goaltenders.
Vitarelli stopped Kirk. Looked like it snuck through, but not the case. Here comes Jeremy Thompson. Feeding left, and a score, Matt Hosick. The defenseman coming up big.
How many times do we see that in lacrosse? You see a scoring chance in one end. Vitarelli, I believe it got the post, but we'll give Kirk the credit, and the ball comes up the floor in a fast break. Thompson finds the younger Hosick, who puts it in for the big goal. And that's a couple of times in this game where we've seen the big save or the big stop in Saskatchewan's end and straight up the floor for a goal.
Defenseman goals were not at a premium in the West Division final. Ryan Dilks scored 2 for the Rush. Tonight was Hosick's turn. Cornwall in transition has scored 2 goals for the Rush. Up by 5 midway through the fourth. Off the screen, Jackson almost skittered it home. Kirk airs it out. Up the floor to Messenger. Bobbled it once, has his footing. Messenger the spin, and he scored!
Vince doesn't like this.
He is livid, but Messenger excited.
Well, Messenger's had some chances, has shot wide. This time he decides he's not taking the outside shot, he's just gonna jam it right in. And I don't see anything wrong with that goal. I'm not sure what Vince was angry about. I don't think he's not near the crease.
First goal of the postseason for Mike Messenger. Had a great look at a shot earlier in the game, but a nice follow-up by one of his teammates.
And that's Kirk's second assist.
It's Jeff Cornwall's goal back in the first. Dilks had an assist as well. Under 7 to play in the fourth. 6-goal lead for the Rush. Each time Rochester cuts the deficit, the offense gets cooking for Saskatchewan because their defense has been so consistent tonight. Keenan rips one. Vince the stop on his shoulder pad. The Rush motivated from last year's loss to Georgia. Looking to make it 3 championships in the last 4 years. Rochester had a 3-year run from 12 through 14. Can prevent it this season. Bodies are flailing. Finally some whistles.
Yeah,
Billy D. Smith getting into it with Mark Matthews.
And he's getting a penalty. I don't think it's for anything that happened to Mark Matthews, but
Robert Church has his helmet scraped off by Smith.
well, the ball was down, and it looked like nobody was interested in picking that ball up, and there was hits and slashes, and eventually the referee put his arm up, and when the whistle went, it was Billy D. Smith he was sending to the penalty box.
We'll await the call from Chris Williams.
Check this out. The ball's down, and that's when the arm went up. And then here's a little bit of frustration. And it's just Billy D. Smith, and I believe he'll just get 2 minutes for that. Although it could be wrong. They might throw the extra penalty at him.
Asked to do a lot more tonight. One of the leaders
Rochester
of this
penalty.
defense.
2 minutes for slash, 2 minutes for rough, 2 minutes for dead ball foul.
That was very wrong.
6 minutes total. He can't believe it. He was asked to be a lot more defensively tonight with Sid Smith out. And now with 6:18 to go, Rochester is going to be down a man for the next 6 minutes.
Saskatchewan's going to get a chance to work on that power play. That's the only thing
That's
struggling
over
for
tonight.
them. The best power play in the NLL this season, and they've 0 for 3, I believe.
That's
tonight.
right.
And
Rochester 2 for 3.
they won't be 0 for by the time the 6 minutes is over.
The lead is 6 at the moment. Keenan the skip. Church at the point. In the slot, Keenan looking for McIntosh, who does have 2 goals tonight. Scraped out, Church down to one knee, backpedals, fires on as the shot clock went to 0.
Well, a great play by Church to get that shot away. Just to pretty much deflect it off Vince into the stands, and they get the reset.
Keenan shot no good. Has it back off the bounce. Church going for his 5th goal. Deflected off the wall. Flung out by Magnan as he escapes the floor, and Rochester needs something to go their way. 5:20 left, 5 minutes of the penalty.
Whether they score shorthanded or not, they have to take it to the net and hopefully draw a penalty, because if they're just going to kill 6 minutes, they have absolutely no chance.
No shorthanders tonight. Jamison looking to be creative and feed off to Vitarelli using the board. Offsides, Rochester, so Saskatchewan possession. 4:43 left of the penalty.
And it's looking like it's very difficult for Rochester to mount anything now. You got to think, at this point, they might be playing for next week.
A year ago, Saskatchewan did not win a single NLL Finals game. They're looking pretty good right now. Up 6, 4.5 left in the 4th. BTB from Shatler to Keenan. Back in front, McIntosh going for the hat trick. Curtis Knight tracks it down. New shot clock for Saskatchewan. Bodies going everywhere. An extra push from behind by Hossack. Vince clears it. The Knighthawks only needed 9 goals 2 weeks ago to beat Georgia. 9 won't be enough against the top scoring team in the league this year, Saskatchewan. 1 goal above its season average of 14. Rest of Terrets tonight. Evan Kirk having himself a night. 35 saves. The last time Saskatchewan allowed less than 10 goals in a game was their West Division clincher on April 7th against Colorado. Killing more clock. Shatler scoreless tonight. Got a check from behind. And stoppage on the floor. We step aside. Final media break here in the 4th. Rush trying to kill some clock. 6-goal lead in game 1 of the NLL Finals. Stick with us. 15-9 Rush in front of the Knighthawks. Let's go to Darren DuPont down on the floor.
Yeah, guys, interesting to be between the two benches as they manage the end of this 4th quarter. Obviously looking ahead to next week. For the Knighthawks, they're pretty calm. They like the way they've responded a little bit here in the 4th quarter, but for the Rush, it's been a very emotional time with the fans getting into this game. The 7-goal run they had earlier and the way that they've kind of been able to counter what Rochester's been able to do here late. But they're trying to remind their group to remain calm because emotions are getting high down here. They don't want to get anything out of hand that might give Rochester an upper hand leading into next week.
Thank you, Darren. 3 of the last 4 goals have been scored by Saskatchewan. Game 2 a week from tonight. Next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern. If there's a third and deciding game, we'll be right back here in Saskatoon. That would be Saturday, June 9th. Only one team will be crowned champion. You can watch all the games on NLL TV and, of course, on Twitter. Brendan Glashee with Brian Shanahan. Still 2:54 to go in the penalty and 3:10 left in regulation. Key stop for Saskatchewan to get back with the extra man.
And the NLL Finals is the only time of the year when we play a series, a 2 out of 3. So this is a unique situation. Both teams are well aware that this series is continuing. I'm sure at this point they're well aware that Saskatchewan's going to get the victory, and that definitely seals it with Keenan's hat trick.
In just his 2nd season, the 2016 first overall pick, having a monster game. Rush with its largest lead of the night, 7 goals.
A couple of nice outside shots by young Ryan Keenan, and that's the first power play goal for Rochester on the night. And
Saskatchewan.
Or Saskatchewan, yes, he just got way too much room to step in.
Largest lead of the night. And it could continue to grow as Billy D. Smith has to watch 3 2-minute penalties against the experienced defenseman who missed some time during the regular season. A key weapon to have back defensively. He didn't play in the Saskatchewan meetings for Rochester during the regular season, missing a couple of games due to injury. And with Sid Smith out on injured reserve, that news coming out before the game today, Rochester undermanned defensively at the moment. This makes you wonder how you get ready for game 2 now if you're Rochester.
Well, I think both teams want to make sure they don't do anything stupid. You don't want any suspensions, that's for sure. And maybe that's the same spot for Billy D. Smith to be right now in the penalty box because he's getting a little frustrated.
Some trickery by the Rush offense, a new shot clock. Curtis Knight receiving the beautiful pass. Under a minute left in the power play.
And
fans standing.
You wonder if the fans here are thinking this could be the last time they see Saskatchewan Rush play here this season. If they get what they want, they would love to see Saskatchewan win it in 2 straight games. Although I'm sure they'd love to see it at home, but after last year, I think they'd prefer a victory than a second home game.
Robert Church looking up at the clock. He's got 4 goals tonight to lead these Saskatchewan forwards. 9 to shoot. Under a minute to go in the 4th. The Rush fans sensing something they did not see last year, a win in the NLL Finals. Billy D. Smith back on the floor, missed it wide. Corbeil plucks it off the wall.
He might get another penalty. He did. He just got his 4th penalty on the slash.
Listen to this crowd.
And if Saskatchewan manages to keep this ball, Billy D. Smith won't be going to the penalty box, although they will have to get a shot.
After falling short in 2017, being swept by the Georgia Swarm in 2 games, 9 seconds from getting a finals win, and that man, Evan Kirk, a big reason why. Now can the Rush bring this momentum to Blue Cross Arena in Rochester? And on the other flip side, can Rochester put this behind them? Got within 4 numerous times tonight.
You know what? I don't think momentum carries through from one game to another, and I think Rochester, sometimes you're better off losing a game like this than a heartbreaker.
And that'll do it. Game 1 of the 2018 NLL Finals goes to the Saskatchewan Rush. 16-9, the final at SaskTel Center.
Well,
The defense set the tone from the get-go, Shanny.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You know what? You know, Mark Matthews, 1 goal, 2 assists. That's a very quiet night from his standards. McIntosh, a couple of goals, no assists. But I think it was the defense that got the offense rolling.
Jeremy Thompson scored the game's first goal. Matt Hossack was crucial. Jeff Cornwall was in a lot of places. Even Mike Messenger put one in.
Yep, and just the amount of turnovers caused by that defense that led into transition opportunities, even the ones they weren't scoring on, they were continually putting pressure, getting chances, creating shots. Final shots on net too. 64-45 for Saskatchewan.
As mentioned, the first time the Rush allow less than 10 in a game since they clinched the West Division regular season crown back on April 7th. So Evan Kirk with a monster performance, 35 saves. Matt Vince had 45 saves. We mentioned the big night for Jeff Cornwall. 2 goals and an assist. He's down on the floor, standing by with Darren Duplass.
All right, thanks, Brendan. Jeff, guys, we're talking about your great night. The transition game was so good for you guys early. How important was that to get off to a good start in the transition game?
It really helps when we're firing on all cylinders. Our defense is playing really honest, really hard, bringing the tempo to them. And when we play honest like that, we get transition opportunities. We capitalized on a bunch of them, so we're hoping to continue that into next week against these guys.
Something we didn't see in the 2 games against Rochester is you got your ability to get on a roll, but you had that 7-goal stretch into the 3rd quarter. How big was it to get some momentum going and get some consistency like that?
It's definitely a game of runs, and maintaining that momentum is huge for us. We really pushed the floor. Our O guys were running on and off, giving us a chance to get out there, play some hard defense, and then we were benefiting them by hustling off the floor so they would have a full 30-second clock to work with.
Jeff, I know this building is a great place to play, but what's it going to take to make sure you guys can take care of business in Game 2?
Just preparation, focus on what's next, because honestly, this is an important one, but the next one's the big one, right? We ought to keep focusing on what's next, so bring that intensity to the next game.
Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, there's Jeff Cornwall, guys.
Thank you very much, Darren. SaskTel Center was a blast, a treat tonight for Game 1. As we rejoin you up in the booth, Brian Shanahan, Brendan Glasheen. Well, again, the defense set the tone from the beginning. Saskatchewan winning on their home floor. Lost a couple of games here on their home floor during the regular season. Shined on the big stage after not winning a finals game last year here against Georgia.
Yeah, and you know what? This team is so good. you know, everybody's wondering, was last year a blip? And they would like to think it is. I think their fans would like to think it is, that was the year they should have won. They didn't. They believe they're a dynasty, and if they're a dynasty, they're going to have to win it this year. I think they're everybody's favorite right now, but I wouldn't take too much. You know, that score 16-9, it's a big score, and we talked about it during the game. Is that momentum going to carry it? I don't think the momentum carries. I don't think whether it was a 1-goal loss or a 7-goal loss is going to matter to Rochester. They know they have work to do. They know they're playing one of, if not the best team in the NLL, so I don't think it matters that they won by 7 goals. But, you know, we talk about runs, a couple of runs, that 7-goal run, it was over 2 quarters. They scored 3 goals in 3 minutes in the second quarter, 4 goals in 3 minutes to start the second half, and that was it. 7-goal difference.
Quickly, what must change for Rochester going into game 2?
They cannot lose the ball on offense in the dangerous spots, and give credit to Saskatchewan for putting pressure on them. But I think Rochester has to react to that and make sure it's better to throw the ball in the corner than to lose it up high and get that transition working. And eventually that transition made them pay.
We'll wrap things up at SaskTel Center right after this short break. Saskatchewan wins game 1 of the NLL Finals 16-9. We'll be back.
In the darkest depths of the ocean, much is still unknown. Much is still left to the imagination. You think you know what awaits in shallower waters. You think you know what lurks near the surface. You think you know, but your reality, your world as you know it, is all about to change.
He's got Digby on the take, scores! Now back over to Dane Smith with a shot, hit the goal post inside, he scores!
Afraid you might miss out on the big stories from your favorite team? Well, not to fear, the NLL newsletter is here. All you have to do is subscribe to the new NLL newsletter, and you'll get weekly updates from everything that is happening around the league. What are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Matt Hossack wrestling.
Welcome back to SaskTel Center. The Rush take game 1 of the NLL Finals 16-9 for Darren DuPont down on the floor, and for Brian Shanahan, our entire NLL TV crew. The final score one more time: Rush 19, Saskatchewan 16, Knighthawks 9. Be sure to join us next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern, as the teams travel to Rochester for Game 2 of the NLL Finals. Visit NLL.com for an all-access pass to visit the National Lacrosse League and get the latest news, highlights, stories, and more. I'm Brendan Glasheen saying so long, good night from Saskatoon.